This podcast is brought to you by Blue Guardian, the only prop firm that protects their traders.
None of my family spoke to me. All of my extended family started putting ideas into my wife's head and everything, saying, he's lost his mind, you need to get out and all this kind of stuff. My kids didn't trust me. My wife didn't trust what I was doing. The only thing that pulled me through was I actually had my biggest trading day ever that day, and that was through about 18 hours of trading across 6 trades. I did about £133,000, which is still today my best trading day. I've spoken at events with some phenomenal traders, and they all have the same thing to say. So I still believe to this day that it's the one differentiator between failing traders and winning traders.
Episode 249. All right, folks, we've got Jason Graystone here on the show today. What an emotional, motivating, and educational interview we've got coming up in a second. Now, before we dive in there, I do want to tell you that we've got a special giveaway happening here until the end of the year. You can grab yourself one of these trader keys from my sponsor, Black Bull Markets, who are giving away 10 merch packs, including those trader keys, to lucky winners who open up an account with them using the link below. Yes, you must use the exclusive Trading Nut link below this video or in the podcast description to get a chance to win one of those. And you're also going to get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000 on your first deposit with them. So folks, head over there, click the link below the description to check that out and get yourself one of these trader keys. I'm going to set mine up today. All right, and other things going on here at Trading Nut. We've got 3 new live streamers hitting the show this week, covering London and New York sessions. So if you want support during those sessions, it's a great place to go. 2 of them are taking on the Blue Guardian Challenge. One of them is ex-guest of the show. So go and check them out. Give them a bit of love, folks. Other things, we've got the mystery trader who's been away on holiday for the past few days. So unfortunately, the trades have been a little light, but jump into that Telegram because we're going to be hitting that hard with trades coming your way. And if you're looking to automate anything, go and check out my Robot Builders Club. Links to all the stuff are under the video. All right, folks, enough from me. Let's get on with the show. Our sponsor, Blue Guardian, is the only prop firm that gives their traders a tool to protect them from hitting their max daily loss and over trading. It's super simple to use. Just set the Guardian Protector each day from your dashboard. Did you also know that they've just released an unlimited time evaluation with a 0 trading days requirement, giving you plenty of time to hit their low 8 and 4% targets, making it super fast to get funded. Plus, it's cheaper than the 40-day time limit evaluation. Check out the link and coupon in the description to get 10% off your next Blue Guardian evaluation. All right, folks, here we are on Trading Nut. We've got Jason Graystone in the house from Tier 1 Trading all the way over there in the UK. Welcome to the show, Jason.
Thanks for having me, mate. It's going to be a good chat. Looking forward to it.
I know we tried to do this like many years ago, and I can't remember, for whatever reason, we had all booked, and I had to pull out last minute, and we've had Akil Stokes on, your business partner, Tier 1. So I'm interested to hear your story, and I'm glad we finally managed to connect. So to start off with, do you want to give the listeners a bit of background into how you got into trading, how it all started, and we'll dive into your journey from there?
Sure. Essentially, I got into trading because I had this plan from about 22 years old when I found out I was going to have my first son, that I needed to become financially free. And that was a bloody long journey. It took me a long time, made a lot of mistakes. But in doing so, what I essentially became obsessed with was this idea of income replacement through less active endeavors. So I started looking at how I could make my money work to then get enough returns from that money to then replace my my active income to cover my living costs at the time. So it wasn't like major, it wasn't like millions. I didn't have dreams of like having millions and millions and all the rest of it, but I just needed to become free of time by as many leveraged income streams as possible. So I started looking at investing, and I started looking at index funds, ETFs, real estate investment trusts. And then I started learning how to pick individual large cap stocks and medium cap stocks. And then part of the realization that I had was if I could control my income and grow my income by 10%, the income that comes into all of these investments, 10% per year, it would dramatically accelerate the time, reduce the gap in time that it would take me to cover my lifestyle costs. So I started a business. Now, because I started a business for that purpose, to abuse and just pay myself as much money as possible, with that came a lot of stress, right? It's because you kind of you need to employ more staff, but you can't afford the staff and all this kind of thing, right? So I was kind of on this sinking boat during that period, and it became very stressful. So then I started looking at higher speculative plays like online poker, options trading, because I just needed to accelerate my returns. I wasn't far off at this point. I was about 26, and I then settled for Forex trading because I'd blown about 40 grand on that anyway. So I thought, well, I've learned a lot of lessons doing that, so let's pursue with that. And then after about 3.5 years from that point, I became profitable consistently. And I finally replaced my active income at about 29.5 years old. So yeah, that was why I got into it.
Okay, cool. So what can you tell us what that business was? The one that got you started?
Yeah, I qualified as an electrical engineer, so I was an electrician, and then I went on to software engineering and creation, and then we basically built BMS systems, which are building management system control panels that have controllers and software that control all of the intelligent controls in the building to run the building efficiently, like boilers and pumps and fans and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay, right. Now, on that journey to trading, it sounds awfully simple. You know, you started into Forex and you wanted to become a successful Forex trader. I mean, how on earth did that happen for you? I mean, what were the steps that you took?
Yeah, so I didn't approach trading in the way a lot of people approach it today. You know, people are very uninitiated, very stupid how they go into it, get rich quick, false expectations. I did have false expectations because I thought it'd be easier than it was, but I didn't go into it stupid. You know, I was a business person. I was a logical minded person. I didn't actually go in with the thought that, oh yeah, I can, you know, generate millions in months. It was very, very methodical. But I was playing a shorter game than I needed to play. And I very quickly got humbled. And as I say, about 3.5 years it took me from day one to actually start seeing some fruits. So I was very much humbled to play the longer game. And I started focusing on process, testing, you know, my own psychology and making sure that I was in check enough to consistently trade what I'd learned. And, you know, with that, you just make fine adjustments. So I was very much, if I could sum it up, I'd say I'd use like the thermostat analogy, because you see a lot of people, they kind of turn the heating on when they're cold and off when they're hot, you know, and they kind of get the thermostat and do this. I was very much a tweak by 0.5 degree until I'm comfortable. And that was my approach. It just took a long time, but it paid off in the end.
So I mean, can you sort of walk us through like how many hours a day were you spending at it? What kind of things were you studying?
Yeah. So I started trading basically a swing trading system. It was a daily swing trading system for trends, and that was it. I had to test the system. I did about 600 hours of testing, and what my life looked like at that time, because I was running a business. I'd come home 5 o'clock, have dinner, spend time with the family. About 10 o'clock, I would start testing the systems. And about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'd go to bed and I'd do it all over again. I'd spend every Saturday in a coffee shop doing more testing. Some Sundays, half day Sunday, depending if I could get away with it. And I just put as much hours into testing the systems as possible. And then I did about 6 months of paper trading that. So just, you know, going forward and making sure that I'd ironed out any errors like order placement, spreads, making sure that it all aligned with what I'd tested. And then I went live. So I was putting in, you know, I was putting in a lot of hours.
And it must be, I was going to say, it must have been frustrating at some points when you're doing all that testing and, you know, not every single system or strategy you test or even approach is going to work out of the gates. I mean, were there times when you were just like, you know, at your wit's end going, what the hell? I mean, I've just tested this thing for 4 hours and the results are crap. And I'm like, I've just wasted that 4 hours. And how did you sort of overcome that kind of thing?
I try and, you know, in that initial phase, every market I spent about 20 hours on. So it was 20 hours per market, per strategy, per time frame. And It was a lot of testing, but I tried not to see it like wasted time, because what I saw it like is, well, if I just blindly traded that would be losing me money. So it's actually, by testing it and finding it doesn't work, that's actually earned me money. So I always tried to have a positive spin on it like that, because I now don't include that in my portfolio and I trade those instead. And I don't trade that time of day. I trade this time of day. And as a result, I'm earning more money than I would have had I just traded it blind. So if you look at it like that, it's a lot easier to get done.
And back then, I suppose, I don't even know if TradingView's got a kind of replay was even available back then. I mean,
No, it wasn't.
How did you go about doing your testing without those kind of?
Yeah, I did all of my testing. I did the first lot of testing on MetaTrader 4, and it was just historical data provided by my broker at the time. I could go back. It was about 5 years or just over 5 years on the time frame that I was looking at, and it was literally just one laptop for the charts, one laptop with a spreadsheet, and I would just go back and I would mark up the charts and, just go day by day by day. And then on my spreadsheet, I'd have the last date entry that I'd tested. Then the next day I'd go back, scroll back through the charts. Luckily you could save workspaces and things like that. So it had all of my, my screenshots and drawings all over it. But yeah, it's painful. Yeah. I still believe to this day that it's the one differentiator between failing traders and winning traders. I think most people don't get it done, which is why they don't succeed.
Yeah. And so at the point you were like, okay, I'm happy with the back testing, everything's looking good, and you moved to paper trading it. I mean, can you explain that the whole, straight out of the gates where you're doing well in paper trading, or what happened there?
Yeah. So I came out, and the first amount that I funded my account with was £65,000 UK. So it was enough it weren't going to ruin me, but it was enough to hurt, and I had to treat it seriously. So before I actually went live with that £65,000, I had to prove to myself that there was no other hidden, I wasn't going to get sideswiped somehow by something I'd missed. So for me, the purpose of forward trading or paper trading is just to iron out anything you can't test. So for me, it was just like user error, placing the one cancels other order rather than a good till close or whatever, and also making sure that the spread that didn't make any major differences, because it's very difficult to test spread. You can't really test spread because there's fluctuations, etc. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that it was still yielding averagely the same results. And once I'd done that, I funded my account 65 grand. And then this is the big turning point for me. 4 weeks later, I had less money in my account than I started with, even though I'd traded everything to the T. And on the 5th week, I was surrounded by people, say, Akil being one of them, saying, look, just stick with it, keep going. Because we were kind of bouncing off of each other. And I did. And on the 5th week, I went into new profit in my account. And at that point, I tested, that was the first point where I trusted the system. But until then, you just don't, because you just never know what's going to happen. But something happened in that 4th to 5th week that put me into new equity highs in my trading account. And I just had full belief. It was like, right, if you stick to it, it plays out. I have probabilities stacked in my favor, and yeah, it came good. And from that, that just gave me a whole new sense of confidence.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, and are you still trading that exact same way now, or have you slightly?
I do trade. Yeah, I do trade that strategy that I first learned. It's been modified over the years, slightly tweaked and optimized. At Christmas time, I do about 20 to 40 hours of optimization on my swing trading strategies, and that's one that I still trade. Yeah.
Folks, Black Bull Markets have 10 merch packs to give away to clients who sign up before the end of the year, including one of these trader keys. So to go in the draw, all you need to do is sign up with the link below this video or in the podcast description, and you'll go in the draw to win. It's that simple. And remember, folks, when you sign up to Black Bull Markets through the Trading Nut link below, you're going to get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000 on your first deposit. All you need to do is click the link in the description below the video or the podcast. can you explain, like, was this on, do you trade the lower time frames? Because you obviously mentioned spread and risk to reward on these trades. Because if you're sort of underwater for a bit and you come right, I'm guessing there might be quite a kind of higher risk to rewards.
Yeah. I trade, there was a time where I was day trading actually for probably 5 years, 6 years. I stopped day trading on the 3rd of April, 2020. And that was just before the COVID thing. I actually had my biggest trading day ever that day. And that was through about 18 hours of trading across 6 trades. I did about £133,000, which is still today my best trading day. Mm-hmm. And after that, because of COVID coming in and my emotions went a little bit cocky, I just put the day trading down for a bit and I haven't picked it up since. I very much stick to the daily, the 4 hour, and I can get entries on the 60 and trade management on the 60-minute time frame, but I'm very much a higher time frame trader now. And systems that I trade now, I trade trend, I trade reversal setups, I trade flags and breakouts on certain pairs like the dollar yen. I trade ascending channels, descending channels. So yeah, I've built up over the years a nice little toolbox of different trading situations that I can be in at any given time to give me as much opportunity as I can get, but also maintaining a high strike rate or working towards a higher strike rate all the time. And my risk reward profiles, minimum of a 1-to-1. I very rarely get a 1-to-1. It's usually a 2-to-1 on my trade. So yeah, that's kind of how I like it. I kind of see it as like there's this sweet spot between every trader wants activity. So number of opportunities is important. The second one is risk reward. So, are you happy with your risk reward profile? And then the next one is strike rate. So some people are happy being wrong more than they're right because they've got a big reward to risk profile. But some people need to be right more than they're wrong, even if that's just a little bit over time. And I found my sweet spot being around a 55% trader initially. And obviously I'm just working at getting that better and better.
And so back to the just cycling back to education and getting that knowledge around the price charts and the market and how it operates and stuff. I mean, what were the key elements that you used to build up your trading strategy, or that first one you came up with? I mean, you mentioned flag patterns and pennants and that sort of thing. I mean, was that part of it?
Yeah. So I look at. I mean, I'm a structure. I'm a structure based. I'm a technical trader. So I look at price, I look at structure, and then it was about using 6 main kind of principles, if you like. The first one being the phase, the second one being the condition, the third one being price action patterns. And then what I would do is I would just add different filters and indicators to give me more confluence and more confidence in the setup. So it's almost like a scoring system where if this happens, then I can use this entry, but if this doesn't happen, I have to wait for this type of entry. So it's kind of like this like a scoring system, right? It's like a high probability scoring system, and based on the score I can use different entries, which is I've found to be very, very effective. It's very dynamic. It allows you to get multiple chances at different markets. Even when one setup doesn't happen, you can still get in with a different setup if that plays out. So it allows me to have a lot of stabs at one opportunity, but still maintain my high strike rate and my my risk reward profile.
And so when you say
I'm not sure if that answers your question, but
no, it does. So I mean, like you're sort of, I mean, I suppose more from a less technical side, it's more holistic, but the technical sit within those 6 principles that you've got, which makes sense. I mean, you talked about different entries there. I mean, what about like would you risk more on a specific entry, and when can you give us an example of like when you would go, well, this one's going to be this kind of entry versus that one? How does all that play out?
Yeah. So for instance, everyone, I think most people are familiar with double top strategies. If you've got a double top at a major resistance level, like right now at the time of this recording, there's a opportunity on the dollar yen that has just approached 150 level, and it hasn't been at that level since the 20th of October 2022. So a whole year has passed, and we're now at a major rejection zone. There's a nice resistance zone up there at 150. 150 is also a psychological even handle flat number. And in that opportunity, as price approaches that level, a double top might be considered a conservative entry, whereas a 3-bar reversal would be more aggressive. So you just wait for the, a pin bar, or you wait for, a lower low and a lower close candle, say. And depending on your discretion as a trader, and you've taken notes of that level and you've tested that level, and you say, actually, I can be more aggressive at this level, because if I'm not, I'll miss the trade. Then you might consider taking a 3-bar reversal instead of a double top. Or if it's not a major level, you might wait for the double top and then need a triple test, or some kind of reversal setup. So you're a bit more conservative if it's not at a level that's had 3 tests of a major high, for instance. Very difficult to explain over a podcast, but it's kind of this philosophy that, depending on your discretion of that level and what you know about that level, determines the aggression of the entry, and the aggression of the entry can determine the position size as well. So you've got these 3 dynamic markers that you can use to really accelerate your returns by enhancing your edge if you use them all together. Whereas I think
that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. It's quite an interesting way to do it. I mean, like, your double tops kind of, like, sometimes I sort of look at it as, that is the last place you're probably going to get in, but only if it works out and becomes a double top, right? Because otherwise it just becomes a new higher high, and it's exactly.
Or it continues on. Yeah.
Right now, the markets that you trade. So, how many have you got now, and how did they correlate to what you back tested on?
Yeah, so I've tested everything I trade. I test. So I've tested. I mean, my swing trading portfolio consists of 27 markets, and it's basically every combination of the major crosses that you could think of, other than the euro yen. So the euro yen I removed because it was just not profitable on my particular system, or it was on reversals, but it just wasn't worth carrying it through. So 27 pairs. And then on my intraday setups, I trade 8 pairs, which is Aussie CAD, Aussie dollar, pound dollar, euro dollar, pound, Aussie pound, yen dollar, yen, and New Zealand dollar. Not that I haven't said that a few times.
Yeah. And so you don't trade any indices or any sort of cryptos or anything like that? You're just purely Forex?
No, again, I used to. I used to trade some indices. I used to trade some oil. I did trade some oil during COVID and all that, but I took my day trading hat off, and I just stick to the Forex markets.
Now, it's quite interesting because a lot of people sort of go Forex and then they sort of veer off into like trading NAS 100 or US 30 or the FTSE or whatever. Why is it that you think you've managed to master, or why is it you've managed to master Forex whilst a lot of others like go, it's kicked me out again. I'm going to go and try a different market? It's a difficult question to answer.
It's a difficult question to answer, but first of all, I haven't mastered it. Like I'm always going to be trying to master this, right? Second of all, it's the whole. If you employ if you employ a fitness trainer and you're still fat, you never blame the fitness trainer, do you? Or you never blame yourself. You always blame the fitness trainer.
Right?
It's like, it's easier to jump onto a new system or get a new fitness trainer than it is to actually look at yourself in the mirror and go, I'm the problem, right? So I think that goes with trading more than anything. It's like here's the beautiful thing about trading. It's just you. You can only blame you. There's no one else to blame. Like, it's just you. So the markets are doing what the markets are doing. There are successful traders making money, and there are traders that can't make money. The only difference is your choices and your approach to the market. That's it. There's no secret. It's just you have to persevere and stick with it. And I think that's the side of trading that isn't glamorized and sexy and advertised, but it's still important. And that's why people just give up, because they're like, oh, this isn't what that guy on Instagram said it was like. I can't imagine he sits here doing all of this testing stuff and all of that. Truth is, any successful trader who has been trading and generating consistent profits over any decent amount of time has done all that work. You know, there's everyone I've spoken to anyway, and I've had the privilege to spend, you know, weeks on very, very reputable prop firms in Manhattan and in London and in Italy. And I've spoken at events with some phenomenal traders, and they all have the same thing to say. So
it is funny.
Look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, I mean, like people will watch like this, for example, and go, oh, you know, this guy's got, you know, he's got himself a nice office and all this sort of stuff, and he's a professional trader, and kind of think, nah, he probably didn't do any back testing. He's just there like that, you know, click of the fingers and bang. So, I mean, can you walk us through?
If you ask my wife.
Oh, right. Yeah,
you know, it was the closest I've ever come to divorce when we was going through that period. I can promise you.
That did cross my mind, because I was thinking, when's he gonna see his wife? It just didn't. Yeah. There was no time in the day, right? It was literally 24/7. Which there
was a point in time where none of my family spoke to me. This is serious. None of my family spoke to me. All of my extended family started putting ideas into my wife's head and everything, saying he's lost his mind. You know, you need to get out and all this kind of stuff. My kids didn't trust me. My wife didn't trust what I was doing, and the only thing that pulled me through was my belief that I'd seen the black and white results, and I knew it would play out if I could just trade exactly what I'd tested. And that's it. And in the end, I just had to go like, okay, well, I'm just going to go for it. And if they stick around, they stick around. That it was literally like that. So.
I suppose people just, I mean, it's actually what it did remind me of. It is like, I think they call it like the daddy effect or something. When you become a new parent, you get that if you're a bloke, in particular, tend to get that like sort of big spur of, I want to become an entrepreneur now, or like support my family, all this kind of thing. I mean, I had it. It happened. That's when everything started for me. And it sounds like you were in the same boat, and you sort of, even though you're like you love your family and stuff, you get sucked into this world of trying to grow wealth, and everyone's like, what the hell are you doing? Why aren't you just spending time with us? And it's like, I'm not spending time with you, so I can spend more time with you. Do you not get it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very hard.
It is important to do what you want to do as well, because on the flip side of that, you know, 20 years down the line, you'd be sitting there looking at your kids thinking, you know, I resent you for not letting me do what I want to do. And that can happen as well. You start resenting your wife and resenting people around you that held you back for doing what you always wanted to do. And regret is like my worst fear. You know, I've got this vision of when I'm on my deathbed, my life flashes before my eyes, and I'm just thinking about all the time that I wasted or didn't do the things that I wanted to do. And I try and live my life making sure that I don't do anything that other people want me to do. It's make sure that what I want to do. And that's important to me.
Awesome. Now, you talked about like, so you had your 63K that you put in. I mean, how did that sort of, like that first experience of, you know, for example, withdrawing or paying for a bill, or just using some of the rewards from trading to pay something that was actually tangible in your life? I mean, how did that feel? And can you remember that sort of first thing? And was it special, or was it just like a...
Yeah, it felt weird. It felt weird because it was, first of all, my first year in trading, I did like 72% return. It was like crazy. It was like an anomaly year. I haven't, you know, that's not an average return. But obviously I look at averages over time, and there was a couple of years previous that I'd had good years in the testing, and I thought, cool, I hope this continues. It didn't, but I did it. But I had this big cocky year, and I thought, wow, that's great. And the first purchase that I made literally was a mobile screen for my laptop. So I got this Asus screen, which I could take with me, and or Lenovo, I think it was, and it was like a mobile screen. Anyway, it didn't really matter what it was, but it was something that felt weird because I'd taken money out of an account that I'd essentially just grown by. It didn't like clicking buttons, you know, and it was weird because I wasn't taxed on it, and I bought this screen out of money that I'd just made out of nothing. It felt like, But it was great feeling. I didn't do anything lavish. I'm very at the beginning stages, especially. I was very much keeping as much money in my account as possible. But still, to go and buy a £200 screen or whatever it was, it felt great.
And so were you like spread betting? Given the fact you said you didn't have to pay any taxes. I know spread betting's tax free over there.
When I first started trading, I didn't have it all set up as a business and everything. So I had it. I had a spread betting account, which in the UK, it's the same thing, except because it's called a spread betting account, you don't get taxed on it. But there's limitations. You can have only 100 grand in the account maximum, and you have to have a primary income of over 15 grand and things like that. Plus, it's case by case basis. The Inland Revenue will just come and assess you on a case by case. So if you're stacking shelves in like the supermarket as your primary income, earning 10 grand a year, but doing 50 grand on your trading, they'll be like, no, mate, that's not your primary income.
Right. Okay. Right. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So just set it up. We just set it up and get taxed and everything like everyone else.
And so you mentioned prop firms there as well, where you spent some weeks with prop firms, actual sort of physical prop firms, and I'm guessing, well, it sounds like you started this. Well, you definitely started trading before the prop firm sort of explosion here online and taking challenges and stuff. So I mean, what was it like in those early prop firms where you actually turned up there, and why on earth did you get invited?
Yeah, I was I built some great affiliates and partners and friends in the trading community really early on, probably 2013, 2014, 9 or 10 years ago. And there was none of the kind of prop firm challenges, but prop firms have always existed. They're basically like the most selfish business model in the world, where you just trade the company's money and split the profits with the traders. And a friend of mine, Mike Bellafiore, who wrote a book called One Good Trade, he invited me over to his prop firm, and I spent a couple of weeks in Manhattan with him. And at the time, funnily enough, they'd hired these guys to come in and fit headsets to all of their best traders to try and track their eye movement and use AI to kind of map their brain and all this kind of stuff. He spent about 70 grand on it, and it was a complete waste of money, because it just, you can't map someone's discretion and skill. It's just very, very difficult to do. But it was a fascinating thing to watch and be part of. And I met all of his best traders. Since then, I've been over there a few times, and he invited me to speak at his events and things like that. So that was a privilege. And just being in that environment, it's nothing like the glamorized version that you see on some of these funding challenges that are really just a wolf in sheep's clothing, in my opinion. This is a real prop firm. They don't care about offering challenges. They're actually focused on growing the business money, and they're paying £250,000 a month on electricity bills to run all of their infrastructure. They've got some serious money to make. Their whole goal is to employ good traders. That's their only incentive, because without good traders, your company doesn't exist. So I was really interested in what they look for in prop firms, and how they manage the teams, and where's the diversification, and how they manage the risk. And I learned a hell of a lot from spending time on those desks. Yeah.
Funnily enough, I did listen to his book One Good Trade just like in the last 2 months after somebody recommended it, and I was like, I listened to the whole thing. It was brilliant, albeit kind of not necessarily redundant, but way behind the times, because it was the whole online prop firm thing didn't exist. And so it was very much about how do you pitch yourself to a prop firm and get a seat in there and all this stuff. Whereas now it's like, pay a few bucks and you're going to get yourself a chance at an account. And the other thing that really surprised me was the fact that they would bring a new trader on, and it would cost them 25 grand in trading costs just to have the guy sit there and screw them over for 6 months before they get lost. Crazy stuff.
Well, it's not. You could argue it's not really screwing them over. It's just most people just can't do it. Most people don't see it through, and they have to accept that.
Yeah.
But there's one guy. They took on one guy recently from Bridgewater Associates. So this guy was like a legend, and they took him on, and he lost $500,000 in their first month. so,
Really?
so even at that level, he's got to trust them and their ability to pull through and make up profits. I mean, he's come good now,
Yeah.
but imagine that. Imagine that. Like, that's some serious decision making.
And so because they were like trading stocks and reading the ticker and that sort of thing. I mean, how did your skill set and I suppose mindset come into play in terms of being able to give them some kind of advice and insight into what you do and what you know?
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't feel like I could offer them advice as such, but I gave them I did talk to them about my approach to trading, and really a lot of the discussions that we had took place around risk management, diversification, testing, what you do with a system once it's been tested, and the merging of fundamentals and technicals, which is, in my opinion, one power that you've got at a prop firm that you don't have as a retail trader. Like, I was speaking to the guys there, and they have like a squawker and they have an analyst, like a fundamental analyst, but they literally blunt told me, if you just try to trade fundamentals, you'll just lose money, because there's no way that you could know what the market's going to do or try and predict the market participants' reactions to news, because Trump comes into presidency and half of the world love it, half of the world hate it, and there's always a 50-50 opinion of everything. So what I saw the power there was, you had these great technical analysts, and then you had people on top of the fundamentals that would keep people up to speed with what's going on there. And their real skill, which is what I think they couldn't map with the AI headsets and all the rest of it, was the ability to take that information and use their skill and combine the two to either go more aggressive or hold out, or extended targets, or be tighter on a stop, or all that kind of stuff. That's stuff that that's just experience. And when you've got that support and that technology, I think that makes a great prop firm.
Yeah, I do remember them saying, like, they kind of took a 50 upwards trades a day in the markets. Like, they were trading a lot and constantly in and out. So it's not like you're sitting there and you're taking one trade every 2 days. They were in and out, which I suppose leads you to losing $500,000 in it. If you're from, what was it, from Bloomberg or wherever he was from, Bridgewater. Now, did you meet any of the guys that were on the book? I'm just interested to find that out.
I met Swang, and I met Shark, and the reason that they cover their names is because they don't want them getting poached. So it's literally like, I want the best traders. I don't want anyone to know who these traders are, and right. I don't ever want them to leave. Right. And that's the reason they've all got nicknames. But at their height, they had like 60 odd traders on the desk. They had about 25 million at any one given time available. But during the COVID, they did amazingly well. They did 70 odd million in profits. And one trader alone did 25 million in profits. So they've grown astronomically over the last 3 years in particular. And it's just, there's still, the big hitters are still there. But the problem that you find in trading and prop firms in particular is there's like this gap when they get to about 26, 27 years old, they don't want to do it anymore, because they've made a load of money and they feel that they want a bit more purpose, and they want to go and, they want some fulfillment, and being at a desk trading numbers all the time isn't really fulfilling. So whereas when they're young and like 18, 19, 20, they're money driven. They don't really have any commitments. They don't care. They'll sit there all day. When they get to 25, 26, the prop firm owners have really got to struggle to figure out how to keep these guys. So it's then like incentivizing them to be a bigger part of the business, bigger company, equity share in the business and all this. So yeah, that's a real problem for prop firms. Yeah. And who do you get to replace them? Because there's such a low success rate. So yeah,
Because
it's
I mean,
interesting.
I mean, I don't know if you've got a chance to talk to him about it, but I mean, did you get a chance to mention that, the change in the industry and with all these online prop firms appearing and how that's impacted them? Is it something they've looked to try and incorporate themselves to find traders, or does it just not fit the business model?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things. Mike took me for lunch in one of his favorite spots in West Manhattan, and we were sitting there, and I was kind of wondering what he wanted out of it, and then it kind of he was talking about education and education platforms, and they do have an education arm, and I think they've focused a bit more heavily on that over the last few years as everyone went online. They've also opened out remote desks and opportunities for remote desks. We've got a couple of traders that I've just recommended and put through to him on their applications. So yeah, I mean, it's a learning curve for everyone, isn't it? Here's it's like we've got so much access to technology now and data and resources that we just never would have dreamed of before, right? So it's like, in terms of all that data and technology, the playing field's becoming leveled, but that's a massive problem as well, because with all that accessibility comes great responsibility, right? Because if you think about it, it's never been this easy to lose your entire net worth in one click of a button either. So like, never ever before in history have you been able to so easily lose every penny you've got. So although you've got all this opportunity, because there's tons of opportunity having access to all this AI and data and all the rest of it, as a retail trader, it's still a very dangerous place to be. So you have to level up your game, and it's a learning curve for everyone. And I think it's more of it combined with all the crap that's out there on social media, it's a very dangerous place to be. I think you need to have your wits about you more than ever, and take each day with caution. And that goes for everyone: prop firms, retail traders, institutions. I mean, look what happened with GameStop and all that, right? It's like that was a learning curve for who would have thought, like a group on Discord or whatever it was could just move them, like put banks out of business.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just crazy.
It is crazy. I'm interested to hear your thoughts, and I did watch a short from you just or maybe it may have been a story on Instagram from you just like a week or so ago, and you were talking about this instant gratification or instant response from people hitting you up saying, "Oh, I'm going to create a short for you," and you're like, "Yeah, I'm interested," and then the guy's like, question mark, are you going to respond to me? It's been like 2 minutes, you haven't replied, and you're like, give us a chance, would you? The question I've got is, because I mean, I have that same issue as you, but the question I got is like around, do you sort of see like the younger generation or just with all this change in technology and AI and all this sort of stuff, do you find traders are struggling a bit more or less with the ability, the ease of access now, or even the attention span being driven down by smartphones?
Yeah, look, I think there's definitely a dynamic shift in attention. I won't say that attention spans are dropping. I would say there's more distractions. But I think about like if you think about what trading used to be when they're in the pits and they're like, it was all manual, there was no computers. A lot of those guys, when it did go online, a lot of those guys lost their shirt and they went out of business. They struggled to adapt to online trading. It was a completely different style. They had no edge. They couldn't hide their orders or give the eye signal or do the thing. So they completely lost their edge, and loads of them really struggled and went bankrupt. So I see that happening now, and there's obviously pros and cons. I think the people that are like me are going to struggle a little bit with, any kind of advancements in trading that I'm not used to. But what I'm seeing today is kids they learn quicker and they adapt quicker. So their approach, from what I've seen with kids, is they seem to break it and then, oh, don't worry, I've break it because I'll just try again and I'll do it this way. And it's very much like a quick learning feedback loop that they've got going on whilst they're doing it. My kids do it. Like, they're like, why are you doing it like that? Just do this. Well, that's wrong. Well, it doesn't matter. And then he just does it. And he still does it quicker than me because he's although he didn't do it right the first time, he's found the right way to do it in the time it took me to think about, how to do it right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm seeing. And I think if they take that approach to trading, maybe they'll come good. I don't know, but we're not there yet. But maybe they'll lose some money quickly and quickly learn how to hack it and do it better than everyone else. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, though.
Yeah, it's like they're happy to fail forward and know that there's probably a solution there, as opposed to being told like, nah, it's not the, it can't be done. No. There'll be
cautious.
a way. Yeah. Check Google. There'll be something on there or some other search engine. What does your typical trading day look like?
These days, it's just I do some intraday trading on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from about 8 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. for about an hour. And my swing trading takes me about an hour, a half hour to an hour every night. My Sunday evening it takes me about 2 hours just to go through everything. And then other than that, I just always have like charts up. So I'm just keeping an eye on stuff, but I rarely need to sit at my screen for prolonged periods of time every day. I still do it because I love it. I still look at charts all day because I love it. And I think that's also another separation kind of clue to people who actually do get success and people that don't, because I think there's a lot of people that go into it because they feel they should, because other people are having great results with it. So they go into it for the wrong reasons. But yeah, for me, I have a trading environment that I'm in all the time. I love it.
Right.
But I spend probably on average an hour a day on my trading.
Right. Okay. And when you're in a trade, are you managing those trades? You need to, like, if you've got a swing trade, for example, how would you manage that? Can you explain that to the guys listening?
Yeah. So if it's a trade where I'm like trailing stops, for instance, I'll just check it every hour. If I'm most of my swing trades are just out, they just go out the next day. I have orders placed that will automatically trigger and things like that. So I've built various little robots and things like that over the years that help me and assist me with my swing trading. Swing trading, you don't have to be on top of too much because it's, daily time frames, slower movement and slower stuff. But I do have warnings that give me rollover cost analysis and things like that, so that I make sure that it's still profitable. And yeah, just glancing at probably in between every task that I do, I'll check the charts and just see what's going on. So I feel like I'm connected. I can feel the breathing patterns I always know what's going on. Like what I just said about the dollar yen, I know what's going on in all of my markets because I feel like I'm connected to them like that. Yeah. And that keeps me at ease.
Cool. And what about like if you had to give somebody a step-by-step approach to get to the point where you're at, or maybe like, when you started actually making money, what would those steps be?
So from scratch, learn a strategy. Doesn't matter what strategy. Understand that you have to make that strategy work. That strategy won't work forever. So, and the reason it won't work forever is because it's not tailored to you as a person. You're going to have a different risk tolerance, different strike rate tolerance, and all the rest of it, right? So go and test it and then come up with some ideas of how you could make it better, right? Where are you leaving money on the table? Are you being too aggressive with stop? Are you being too aggressive with targets? Are you letting your targets run, etc.? And then go and test that. And then once you've tested the system, you've got a lot of proof there of the probabilities of the outcome into the future, right? Then you just have to go and trade it exactly like you tested it. And your job is to trade it flawlessly. It is to make sure you're not taking excessive loss. You're in trades that you should be in. You're not in trades that you shouldn't be in. You're managing trades correctly. And you're keeping on top of this and recording it and making sure that you're always getting a tiny bit better every single day. And that's it. And if you just focus on getting a little bit better every single day, eventually you'll reap the rewards. You'll become this trader who's quite aggressive, almost knows what the market's going to do. I say that with a lot of caution, by the way, but you kind of get a feel and you go, right, okay, this is much more likely to do this. You become more aggressive, you get more opportunities, higher quality opportunities, and your strike rate's great, and you have very little volatility in your equity curve and very little prolonged drawdowns and things like that. But that doesn't come off the bat. Like I think if you're trying to chase this zero loss system from day one, you're not going to get there. You have to just start and then tweak and tweak and tweak, like the thermostat analogy.
Awesome. Brilliant little thing. Go back and rewind on this, folks, because that is some great advice. Now, a couple of more questions. We'll get into the quickfire round in a second. What about trader's mindset and any sort of kind of tips or tricks or hacks that you came up with along the way to help with your mindset?
Trader mindset. I mean, where do you begin? I mean, trading is a heavily, like, it's 90% psychology. You can learn a strategy in an hour. It's just, how do you trade that and do it consistently and, beat your own demons. So there's many things that I look at. I'd like to say something different from testing, but that was a big one. Being able to compare what you're doing and the results you're getting with what you got in the past will calm you down. You can say, like, well, I've had 5 losing trades in a row, but in the past, the maximum was 7 on average. So I'm not near that yet. So let's just keep trading. And that's the thing that actually got me over the 4-week period into the 5th profitable week when I first funded my account. So having data and having realistic data there about how your strategy should perform can really ease your mind. But the biggest thing is, don't gamble your house on trading. Like, have some money. Don't put your entire net worth into a trading account. That is ridiculous. And, you're not going to be able to even trade properly if you're in that level of poverty. In fact, there was a test done in India, 56 countries in southern India. They tested the farmers' IQ. And when the farming was low and the trade was low and everything, their IQ dropped by 30%. And when it was all booming again and the market was flowing, it raised by 30%. So that means that if you're just worried about paying the bills and you're trying to learn to trade, that approach will be the thing stopping you learning to trade. And it's counterintuitive. So a lot of people do that, believe it or not. I get asked every day, I need to make this payment. I need to pay for this. Please, how can I turn 500 into 20 grand? Ridiculous statements, and when I tell them that the quickest I've ever doubled my account is 18 months. So if you trade now with $100, in 18 months, you might have $200. They're like, oh, that's not really what I thought. And again, they don't want to believe that. So they go on to the next guy, and they go round and round in circles. So all I've tried to do is give people the truth based on my experiences. And I've tried to back up my truth with surrounding myself with as many successful traders as possible over the years. And I've been proved right every time. So hopefully people take something away from that.
I think I'm the next guy that they keep going to because I get the same question. Right now, quick fire round here. Recommended trading book or resource?
Recommended trading book or resource. Do you know what? There was one really good trading book. I know everyone says Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, but there was a book by it was called Trade Your Way to Financial Freedom by Van Tharp. And that's a book that I think every trader would love. It's a terrible title, but I think it's a great book. Really, really good book.
Got a funny feeling I've read that one. I'd have to double check it. What about your preferred broker and trading platform? Look, folks, I know you want the answer to this question. Which broker is this trader using? Now, the answer has been sponsored by Black Bull Markets. So to find the answer out, you're going to need to go over to tradingnut.com, find the show notes page for this guest, and then all will be revealed. Now, if you could leave our listeners with one piece of advice, what would it be?
If I could leave the listeners with one piece of advice, what would that be? It would be the best thing you can do as a trader is to focus on the process. Enjoy it, make sure you enjoy it, and accept that you're never ever going to master it. and it's going to be a continuous, ongoing thing that demands your time and attention, and it demands you to level up, because your edge will dissolve over time. So make sure that if you're doing trading, if you're going into trading, it's something you want to do long term, because if you do and you answer all those questions, it's a phenomenal wealth acceleration vehicle. It's been absolutely life-changing for me.
Awesome. Brilliant bit of advice. Before you wrap up, what's the best way for traders to get hold of you?
Yeah, it's just Jason Graystone, social medias. There are a lot of scam accounts, unfortunately, and they'll probably try and follow you or contact you or message you. But if you go to jasongraystone.com, you'll find all of the official channels. And if you love podcasts, I recommend checking out Always Free, and that's episode 1. Go to episode 1 first, and let me know if you're still listening to episode 6.
Brilliant. Well, look, a big thank you to Jason for sharing with us today everything we've discussed here, along with those links that he's just mentioned. Go and find them on tradingnut.com, and there's going to be a link in the description here. Until next time, I wish all my listeners trading happiness and success. Tired of missing trades or spending hours at the charts? Introducing my Robot Builders Club. With our platform, you can build bots in minutes, not weeks, without any coding required. Get lifetime access to my video course, VIP community, and over 40 ready-made robots. Works with MT4 or MT5, and as a bonus, you'll get 3 months access to my robot lab, where we build and test bots on live calls every week. Join the hundreds of traders who are trading smarter, not harder. Click the link in the description to learn more, get the free training, and download a free robot. All right, folks, so you have an interview done and dusted with Jason. Now, do remember we did do a video afterwards where he breaks down trading USD JPY. So if you ever wanted to know how to trade it, or if you do trade it now and want to have a better way to trade it, then or get some ideas, then this is a video for you. So that's on the YouTube channel. Remember, we've got that Black Bull Trader Keys giveaway along with 10 full merch packs. So if you do want to pick that up and get your 100% deposit bonus, then click the link below this. So you have to click the exclusive Trading Nut link below the video or in the podcast description. Also, remember, we've got those 3 new streamers hitting the live stream. So jump over there, subscribe to the YouTube channel for that. And the Mystery Trader is in that Telegram chat. And if you're looking to automate anything, then check out my Robot Builders Club. All right, folks, have a great week, and we'll see you in the next one.